You know that feeling when you wake up and nothing feels restored? Your eyes open, your body moved through the night. Technically, you slept, but there's a heaviness already sitting in your chest, a quiet fog behind your eyes, as if you ran a marathon in your dreams and never crossed the finish line. And sometimes you don't even talk about it, because what would you say? I'm tired? Again? People hear that and assume something simple. Maybe you went to bed too late, maybe you scroll too much, maybe you just need better discipline. Productivity culture has a quick explanation for everything. So you start to wonder if it's laziness, or weakness, or a lack of motivation. But what if the exhaustion you feel has very little to do with sleep at all? Because there's a kind of tiredness that doesn't come from the body. It comes from the nervous system. When you feel tired even after sleeping, there's often something deeper happening beneath the surface. And most people misunderstand it completely. Sleep restores muscles, it consolidates memories, it regulates hormones, but it doesn't automatically turn off a hyper-alert brain. Research in neuroscience shows that when someone lives under prolonged stress, whether it's obvious stress or the quiet chronic kind, their nervous system can remain in a state of subtle activation, even at night, even in bed, even in dreams. Your body might be still, but internally it may not feel safe enough to fully power down. Cortisol levels can remain slightly elevated. The amygdala, the brain's threat detector, can stay more sensitive than usual. And the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning and self-control, ends up working overtime during the day to compensate. That creates a very specific kind of exhaustion. It's not the exhaustion of physical labor, it's the exhaustion of constant monitoring, of thinking ahead, of anticipating reactions, of managing emotions, yours and sometimes other people's. And this doesn't always come from dramatic trauma. Sometimes it comes from growing up in environments where you had to be the responsible one, or the calm one, or the invisible one. Maybe you learned early that staying alert kept things stable, that reading the room was safer than relaxing in it, that being prepared prevented disappointment. When a child adapts like that, it's not a flaw, it's intelligence. The nervous system learns patterns based on experience. If unpredictability was common, vigilance becomes normal. If emotional expression felt risky, internal tension becomes familiar. Over time, your body gets very good at functioning under low-grade stress. So good that you don't even notice it anymore, until you try to rest. Because real rest requires a sense of safety. And safety is not just physical, it's internal. If your system has been conditioned to stay on, then lying down doesn't automatically switch it off. Sleep may happen, but deep restoration requires something more than unconsciousness. It requires permission. There's another layer too. Studies on mental fatigue show that sustained cognitive effort, decision-making, self-monitoring, emotional regulation, drains glucose and neural resources in ways that feel physical. Your brain consumes a disproportionate amount of energy compared to the rest of your body. If you are someone who overthinks, who replays conversations, who analyzes your own reactions, your brain rarely gets true downtime. Even in silence it works. Even in stillness it scans. So when you wake up tired, it doesn't necessarily mean you didn't sleep well. It may mean your mind has been carrying more than your body. And here's the part that often gets missed. This pattern didn't develop randomly. It developed because at some point being alert worked. It helped you succeed. It helped you avoid conflict. It helped you anticipate problems before they happened. It may have made you reliable, perceptive, mature beyond your years. The same sensitivity that exhausts you is often the same sensitivity that makes you insightful. The same vigilance that drains you is often the same awareness that makes you dependable. This isn't about being better or worse than someone who wakes up energized and carefree. Different nervous systems adapt differently. Some people externalize stress, some internalize it. Neither is morally superior. It's wiring shaped by experience. But there is a quiet paradox here. The people who feel the most tired are often the ones who look the most capable. They show up, they perform, they manage. They rarely collapse publicly, which means their exhaustion stays invisible. And when exhaustion is invisible, it often becomes self-doubt. You start questioning why simple things feel heavy, why small decisions feel bigger than they should, why weekends don't feel long enough to recover. You may even push yourself harder, believing effort is the solution. But effort doesn't fix a nervous system that never fully relaxes. Understanding does. There's also a trade-off that doesn't get talked about enough. When you are highly attuned to your environment, you notice subtleties others miss. Shifts in tone, microexpressions, emotional undercurrents. That perceptiveness is a strength. But it costs energy. The brain is constantly processing information below conscious awareness, filtering threats, simulating outcomes, running what-if scenarios. All of that processing consumes fuel. So your tiredness isn't evidence that you are incapable. It might be evidence that you are carrying a level of internal responsibility most people never see.
And that responsibility may have once kept you safe. The body remembers. The nervous system adapts. And adaptation, even when it's heavy, is not the same as brokenness. You are not failing at rest. Your system simply learned a different baseline. And here's something gentle but important. This isn't a life sentence. The nervous system is plastic. It reshapes itself through repeated experiences of safety, predictability, and self-compassion. Not through force, not through shame, through gradual recalibration. But even before change happens, recognition matters. Because when you stop interpreting your exhaustion as laziness or weakness, something shifts. There's less internal conflict, less self-criticism layered on top of fatigue. And sometimes that alone reduces the weight. It's possible that what you call tired is actually overextended. Overextended in attention, in empathy, in anticipation. Sleep helps the body, but understanding helps the mind. If you've been waking up exhausted, it may not be because you're doing life wrong. It may be because your system has been working quietly, consistently, protecting you in ways you never consciously asked for. And that protection deserves respect, not frustration. If this felt uncomfortably familiar, there are other patterns like this, subtle ones, that shape how you move through the world without you realizing it. Sometimes the most important shifts begin not with fixing yourself, but with finally understanding why you've been the way you are.